Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay.
And I am John Epstein. I'm back.
He's back. And hey, we're going to have a great show this evening. This week is our week 22 of our ABCs of Wealth series. And we're going to be talking about values, virtues, and vision. So, hey, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, tell a friend, or grab your phone. Wherever you take notes, you definitely want to take some notes. Like this, share it, and we'll get started in just a moment. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Lost the music. There we go. Good evening once again. I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor, and I'm joined as always by my mentor, coach, friend, Mr. John Epting Jr., life and financial strategist, senior financial broker with 20 plus years of experience in the financial services industry. Yeah. How are you doing today, John?
Doing okay. I'm glad to be back. Glad I was able to get on here tonight. I know I've missed the last few weeks due to some challenges in my personal life, friendship life. But glad to be back.
Glad to have you back as always. And yes, definitely condolences. I spoke about it last week, but we could definitely commemorate him again this week, Mr. Joey Colasito. Husband, father, phenomenal friend, mentor,
leader. He was so many things to so many people. And I knew that I got to know that. I learned that and witnessed it over the last 21 years. But I didn't know the magnitude until actually the day of his service.
Mm-hmm.
I was privileged to be the one to officiate his service.
All right.
And deliver the message and along with his boys and his queen, his wife, Joanna. But man, just seeing the magnitude of people that came out I realized I was the young friend. Him and I had been friends 21 years, but he had people who were there who went back 30, 35, and 40 years.
Wow.
So it was hard, very hard, still hard.
Mm-hmm.
Still hard. My wife and I are still in shock. We don't know what life looks like without him. But I'm sure, hey, God is faithful, and He has a purpose for everything He does. We just don't understand it all, but He has a purpose. But yeah, Joey, he's definitely one of my best friends in life. I'm probably closer to him than most other people on this planet.
Mm.
But he got to go home. He got to go to a place I'm striving to get to too. But he just got to go a little earlier than me. So, yeah. So, but that's my friend Joey Colasito. Went home to be with the Lord just a little bit ago, and we just celebrated him this past Saturday. So, and I know he would want us to continue things like this because even in his last days, he was giving. He was still giving. He was still helping other people have hope, giving away hope. So,
yeah,
I believe that's what we do here.
Yeah, definitely a life well lived. And like you said, sometimes even when a person has had a significant impact when you don't have to have a lot of direct contact with them, but the contact that you do have, is meaningful and leaves an impression. And I was definitely moved by who he was, and of course getting the opportunity to be at his service on Saturday. And just seeing so many people, it's like a reunion, just seeing some of the people that showed up that hadn't seen in years. And even though they were, no longer engaged with the business, for them to show up on his behalf definitely says a lot about his impact. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. I guess that's why he named his company Impact, but
yeah.
he definitely made an impact. So it was good to see. And I mean, on a holiday weekend to see. Of course, this is secondhand to me because I was so one emotional, yet two focused. I didn't really know the number of people that actually showed up, but the number that keeps coming across from everybody who was in charge, rather. What I mean, other than me, you know what I mean. The facilities and things like that. It was close to, if not a little over 500 people on a holiday weekend to
Oh
come
wow.
and to pay their last respects to my friend, to my boy, Big Sexy as I used to call him. So yeah, it's that's a testament in and of itself. And I know there's a lot of people who couldn't make it. I did get quite a few messages of people who just couldn't make it. They were already going to be out of town in family things and such. And then I got a bunch of people who last minute flew into town and really was here less. The one guy was here less than 24 hours,
Mm,
just to pay his respects. So, but yeah, that was that's the last couple weeks I've had. It was a tough couple weeks, but
yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I had the time I had with him, and I'm grateful for the life we've gotten to live together. We traveled the world together, and but I'm grateful for the people who are still here as well. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. His
Yeah.
his sons are my sons, essentially, and you know I'm gonna still be watching after them as he would do for me. So
Yeah. That's good
yeah,
stuff. Well, hey, let's get into this topic today, John. Values, virtues, and vision. Um, so some of this, I'm sure we could definitely tie in. Of course, what's happened over the last couple of weeks with this, and speak about him, honor him. Once again, through the
yeah,
life that he lived and the qualities that he exemplified. And
yeah.
so, when it comes to wealth, right? We always talk about that wealth is not just about the money in the bank or how
Mm-hmm.
much you make, but really your mindset and your mentality when it comes to wealth. And so the idea of your value system, I know I've heard you speak about that on various occasions, on numerous occasions, about how your values influence
Yeah,
your mindset and your decision making,
yeah,
but also your virtues, right? And in the description for this, I kind of asked the question like, do your virtues enhance or hinder, right, your vision? Because
yeah.
sometimes we can be so, as they say, so heavenly minded that we're no earthly good, right? Like
Wow.
our virtues don't,
It's funny you
um,
say that. Yeah, when we don't make it practical, when we don't put
yeah,
it in real life form, so you can go do it, and that's one of the things I've tried to teach with the. It's mostly men, but it's
hmm
been been some ladies as well. That in my faith is certain things that I just do because I understand that if you can't understand it, you can't go do it.
mm,
You can't pull the trigger on it, right? So in my faith, there's different translations from the King James Bible to the NIV, New International Version, to the NLT and the ESV, and so many others, right? And some people are, oh, you only can read from this one. You can only read from that one. Well, right, if they really knew, right, the original Bible was written in a couple of different languages, and then translating them is almost impossible.
mm,
I mean, accurately. I mean,
yeah,
total ping. For example, the Greek and Hebrew languages has over 20,000 words,
mm,
right? When the human language, right, the American language only, English only has
hmm
6,000. So
hmm,
we're already missing stuff. And then the Bible is written in phrases instead of just words, right? It's
yeah,
written in passages, if you will, right? So it might be seven words to say one thing. Um, so I said all of that to say, if you understand, right, how to take something very complicated and make it simple, right? I
mm,
believe that's a virtue. Now, the definition of a virtue is a behavior
yeah,
of a high moral standard. That's kind of what a virtue really is. That's why everybody talks about how patience is a virtue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's many virtues. My friend Joey was one of those people who had a bunch of those type of virtues, right? Patience was one of them, believe it or not. I mean, he was a super patient guy. Now he was a super competitive guy, and he was always going after. He was in. We always called it in the hunt, in the chase. But the cool thing was when we said it, him and I, we knew we weren't just talking about our businesses.
Mm.
We knew it was also in his marriage, and his life is a reflection of that. He didn't need to say that. You knew, right? His
Yeah.
wife was a total princess. We talked about this at the service. His wife was a total queen, right?
Yeah.
She didn't even know how to get into her own house, right? Matter of fact, we joked her the day before because a bunch of his buddies were in town, right? So they all flew in and they met at this pizza place. And a few of us at the place, we were like, "Whoa, you knew how to drive here?" She's like, I figured it out. I got it
Mm.
because she hadn't driven,
Mm.
you know. Um, so that's a virtue, but that was part of his values,
Yeah.
right? He was raising boys. He wanted his boys to witness, not for him to talk about it, but to witness how to treat a woman.
Yeah. They spoke about that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, the boys did speak about that, right? So, and it wasn't him talking; it was just him doing it, right? Just open the door, right? And matter of fact, I know him 21 years. Very rarely did I see, or even hear of him and his wife being in an argument, right? Heck, even I can't say that. Now, if this was him on here and he was talking about me and I was gone, he couldn't say
Mm.
that. But the cool thing is we were close enough that if he had one, I knew, and if I had one, he knew. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But those are values. So your values play a part in building your wealth. Now of course, he left a quite a legacy, and you know what I like about his legacy. Okay, a lot of people knew him, but a lot of people didn't know him.
Mm.
I like that. Like you made such an impact, and now that it's trickling, right?
Yeah.
People under his tutelage just hit milestones today,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gone. Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Right? All that plays into your values too. Right? So, let's go back to virtue of a high moral standard. If I recall correctly, is how it's said in the dictionary. High moral standard. High moral standard. I remember. I just kind of memorized that. Right? And so that's how you do everything. So in business or whether at your job, right? It's a lot of people may watch this. They don't have a business, but they have a job. Do you do things at a high moral standard, or do you do it based off of how they pay you?
Mm.
In my world, I'm former military, and so now military people look to old guys like me to give wisdom and knowledge of things and how to move and what to do. And one of the things I always tell them is, look, you signed up, give it your all while you're there. Well, I don't like the military. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Right? While you're there, you give them your all. Right? Two things should happen when you leave. They should be begging you to stay, and the people who were under your tutelage want to go with you.
Mm.
That's only gonna come from virtues, from values, the way you move, how you did things. And now I left the military way back in the year 2002, but I had that. I had both of those. I had them begging me to stay, but also people who wanted to follow me when I left.
That's good.
And people who were still reaching out to me years after I was gone, just for insight, just for leadership, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So those are virtues. That's the type of stuff my friend left behind too. But the reason we're talking about it tonight is because it does play a part in you building wealth, right? Do you pay your taxes? Do you do it the right way? Right? Are you trying to cheat the system? Right? Can you if we could just strive to do everything legally, ethically, and morally, the
Mm-hmm.
world would be better. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm not just talking about you. Everyone. If everyone walked in that way, it actually not many people would ever be taken advantage of. Right? So we wouldn't have the trust issues we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole world would just be different if we live legal, ethical, and moral. All three, right? Not just legal. No, sometimes that's not. There's some legal stuff that you could do, but doesn't necessarily mean it's moral and ethical.
Very true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so
I mean, slavery was legal.
true.
That didn't make it. And it was a bunch of people. The reason we don't have it today, well, there is slavery today, just in case you didn't know.
Right.
But like how it was in the United States, right? X number. I mean, long actually before this was really the United States. How it was then? Okay, no, we don't have that, right? But part of the reason we don't have that because there was some people who still, even though it was legal, they still saw it as unethical,
Mm-hmm.
immoral, and they fought for it. Does that make sense? They fought
Yeah.
against, and that's just how it goes. So building your wealth does play a part in your value system. Huge part.
Oh, for sure. And I love how you brought that up, the legal, ethical, and moral. Because I mean, we're seeing a lot today, and you can also challenge some of the things that people are trying to change in terms of the law
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
kind of teeter on morality.
Yeah. Yeah. Greatly. Greatly, especially for a country who we pride ourselves on being the land of the free, home of the brave. And I've joked about that phrase, even though I fought for it. I fought for the right uh, for us to be free, right? And one of the things I'm learning as a former military guy, uh, some of us served and some of us fought.
Mm,
And I really hate to say that, but I'm saying that based off of the veterans. I'm saying that based off of the people I'm talking about. Right? Some of us only served. We rode a ship. We did our time, right? But some of us actually fought,
mm-hmm.
right? And it's kind of weird to me that because if you fought for something, you know the price.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, for sure.
Which means you'll also fight for it even when it has nothing to do with you. And I don't like that part, right? I It's some stuff I don't like that's happening in the world, in the United States. Okay.
Mm,
But some of it, right? I fought for the right for people to have that thought, for them to say that freedom of speech, right?
mm-hmm.
Freedom of the press, freedom. I fought for that right. So even if I don't agree, I don't want it shut down, right? Because what happens when it's me?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and most people don't think like that. They're like, oh, I don't like it. Since I don't like it, get away with it, right? But what if you come up with something that people don't like?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's most people who don't they don't appreciate freedom is because they never had to fight for it.
Mm,
Guys like me did, right? Yeah.
that's good.
Well, I don't mind saying that, and I challenge any veteran who wants to sit down with me and have a talk. Come and take me to lunch. Yeah, you're paying. But come and take me to lunch or coffee, and I'll talk to you in reference to that. Yeah.
That's
Maybe, just maybe, I'll change my perspective, but I highly doubt you're gonna sell me on not fighting for everyone,
mm,
right? If some racist guy says, as long as it doesn't affect me or you, I fought for the right for him to have that thought. I'm say what he want to say.
long as he don't act on
As long as he
something,
don't act on it, as long as he don't, touch you, me, right?
right? Long as it doesn't infringe on somebody else's rights.
Exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you. It's funny. That's how God is. God gave us free will,
Mm-hmm.
right? So some people, God is in control of everything. Not really. He can't make you love him. He can't make you do something. Okay. Uh, so think about that. Even if I pray for something, right, that infringes on your right, your free will, he won't answer. That's, I mean, how much clearer you need me to get here, right?
Makes sense.
That's true freedom right there, right? So I'm definitely not down with the counsel culture. And I notice most people who counsel other people or counsel other things, they never get anywhere anyway. So us talking about building wealth and you're counseling people, you don't have your value system straight yet.
And let's speak to that, John. Like your value system, because I've been listening a lot to ET. I can't really even say lately, for a while now. And
I know you have.
his value system is aligned with his actions, which are aligned with the results you see him get. Like, just, and I'm not gonna say that it comes easily. Like, I wouldn't say that, but because he's clear. Right, there was this quote I came across a long time ago, and I've always remembered it. It said, "When you are clear about your values, it becomes easy to make decisions."
It does.
And so, in terms of building wealth, when you have clarity of what you value, how does that promote building wealth?
Oh, well, you don't have to sell yourself. When you're clear on your values, right? It doesn't matter. You're not gonna break the law, right? Let's just use it that way, right? You're not gonna break the law no matter what, because you're clear on your values. With people who teeter-totter on their values it depends, right? You don't know which direction that person is gonna go, right? Which means they can be bought. Okay. It's a lot of people. I'm gonna just say this. It's a lot of people screaming racism right now. Racism. Let me be honest with you. I don't see a whole lot of racism, right? I believe there's racist individuals, right? But we try to act like oh my God, they're everywhere, right? I walk around every day. I lived in North Platte, Nebraska. I didn't experience it much at all there, right? I probably experienced it more here in Virginia than I did there, right? And mind you, it was less black people where I lived in Nebraska than here. Yet, if people, listen to how I say this, if people found out tomorrow that their boss, the owners of their companies, even their manager was racist, they wouldn't quit. That's your values, right? And sometimes your values can be tested, right? Yeah. Do you really stand for what you say you stand for? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, and I mean, values give you a foundation. It's really what they do. And I'm not even speaking from a spiritual sense. My foundation is Christ, and my core values was built on that. Was built on knowing that Jesus Christ was the only way, the truth, the life, right? So I built it on that, right? So now when it's time for me to make a decision, pretty easy. Just look at the foundation, look at the values. Pretty easy, done. It's not long. I don't have to pray about it. I mean, I don't have to debate everything. Boom. It's actually it becomes really easy. You know which direction you're gonna go.
Yeah.
I know it sounds easy. I'm making it sound so. The hard part isn't the making decisions. The hard part is figuring out what's your value system. Especially with all of the noise out there now, with all of the media and the peer pressure, right? It's a bunch of people just bowing to peer pressure.
Propaganda.
Right? Or propaganda. That's a big one. That's another one. Right? There's a lot of people just bowing to stuff, right? That they don't even believe, right? But that's because their value systems weren't solid. Right? And that's why my core values are so long and in depth. I didn't want to leave no stone unturned. I didn't want something to come up and I'd be like, man, I don't know what to do. No. It's gonna fall in one of those, man. Integrity, excellence, right? It's gonna fall in one of those, right?
Intentional
Obedience.
growth. Yeah.
It's gonna it's gonna fall in one of them. Accountability is gonna fall in one of them. Think about it. Accountability is one of the core values. One of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Accountability. Almost nobody's accountable to anybody else.
That's so true.
People who have a job try not to even be accountable to their boss. So you think people walking around trying to be accountable outside of their job? No, right? But to see, that's a choice, right? It's almost like giving up my right to be right.
Mm.
Actually, that's a secret in marriage. That's a secret in a relationship. Give up your right to be right. You want it to last a long time? You want it to be solid? Give up your right to be right.
Like that.
Yeah. It's a
I
young lady. It's a young lady who's at the a place I frequent. I'm not gonna name it, right? But it's a place I frequent, and recently she just got married. You know, I'm congratulating her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" So I'm always giving her like tips of hey, you know, she's like, what's the secret? What's the secret to marriage, right? And to me, I'm like, I only been married 20 years. I don't know if I even got it yet, but but I got a few nuggets that I kind of picked up. And when I finally applied them, I may have picked it up one year, but I didn't apply it. One of them was that give up your right to be right. Another one is, hey, when you're wrong, admit it quickly. When you're right, shut up.
Hmm. You gotta say that one again. Say that again. When you're wrong, admit it.
When you're wrong, admit it quickly. When you're right, shut up. They'll figure it out. Hey, and be okay, especially if this is somebody you're in an intimate relationship with. It's your spouse or your fiance or your right, somebody who you may end up spending the rest of your life. Right? Don't don't wait on them to come back and tell you was right either. Right? Get over yourself. All right. It's
Yeah.
almost like you can't forgive somebody unless they ask for forgiveness. You idiot! Forgiveness isn't for them; it's for you.
Mm.
Now, depending on who it is, I'm not talking about a spouse, right? Those people, they kind of get a bigger portion of grace,
Mm-hmm.
right? But just because you forgave somebody doesn't mean they should have access now.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Some people you do not put them back at the same place they were, right? At the same position in the same. No, no, no. That's not wisdom, right? There's some people you can though. There's some people who you do, right? But there's some people who you don't, but you still forgive them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely find myself. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
No, I was saying like I definitely found myself being more conscious about my decision making so that I can teach. Because like who grows up and they're like, this is your value system. This is what
No.
like nobody does that. But
No.
actually, I had a coaching call last week, and I shared with you right before this call how I came up with like a schedule for quality time, and that was actually the advice from one of the coaches was to even though I have young children, they're 7 and 3 years old, they can demand so much of my time, and me recognizing that, all right, and I'm sure a lot of women get this, and maybe parents in general get this, that once you have children, you're supposed to like give up everything for the children, and like I had the thought or the value when I had my children that like I didn't have to like give up my life for them. Yeah. But at the same time, just out of habit, that's what I kind of found myself doing. You're just like, I'm doing like, and it's things that I want to do for them, but not realizing that I wasn't doing equitable amount of things for myself. It's just like I'm investing in lifting and gymnastics, but what am I doing for 9 hours a week, for myself? So little things like that, like, all right, yes, I want to invest in their future and I want to invest in them and I want them to have experiences, but like, why don't I want that for myself? Yeah. And so carving that time out to clearly distinguish, all right, I will invest quality time, right? Not the amount of time, but making sure. Because I even told my 7-year-old, I was just like, you say you want to spend time with me, but the first thing you do when you see me when you get out of school is you grab my phone. Like, that's not quality time. Like, we're in the same space.
Yeah.
And you're on one device, your sister's on a tablet, maybe I'm on my computer or on my phone, or I'm doing something else, making dinner.
Yeah.
We're not together. We're not doing something. We're not conversing. We're not talking about our day. We're not sharing and building memories. So I'm like, you get 2 days. And her days are Tuesdays and I believe Saturdays. The oldest is Tuesdays and Saturday, and the baby is Monday and Friday. So those 2 days, if there's anything specific you want to do, whether it's play a board game, play cards, we might watch a movie together kind of anytime, if we kind of got time. But, it's just like your dedicated time to have my full attention for a period of time, 2 days a week. Mommy gets 2 days too, right? Y'all get 2 days, I get 2 days. So my days are Thursdays and Sundays. So if I need y'all to go somewhere else, go to grandma's house or great grandma's house or your cousin's house, so I can have some peace and quiet, that's what I'll do. But realizing that those are values, and it's also, because this is also what the coach brought up, it's like you're also modeling and teaching them to set those boundaries.
That is actually very good. Yes.
So that's been like a key part of my value system, is like, how can I model what I want my children to learn, right? And I just talk to them about it, but like show them and really hone it in. So I constantly have conversations with them. I actually, in coming up with that schedule for our quality time days, I also came up with a family code of conduct. And so it's like, 20 different things that I listed. 15 of the 20 are I statements, and then 5 are we statements. But it's just, just simple things that I want them to, like, I clean up after myself, or I respect others' privacy, and, little things like that. They're like, it's so easy to cross that line and to not set those boundaries with people that we're close to, but recognizing that those are the people that we need to have that respect and love and understanding for, even more so. We do it almost naturally for strangers or for friends, but we kind of take advantage, sometimes we'll take for granted the people close to us. And so, working to instill that value system in them early on, so that, as they grow, it builds their mindset and helps them to have, better mental health, emotional health, and all that good stuff. Because that's part of their wealth as well, their health.
Oh my God.
So
you said a mouthful. You said a mouthful, and that was a lot of good teaching. I'm really hoping a lot of people took notes on that stuff. And they don't have to do it and make it look exactly like you.
Right.
But you made a good point. I mean, there was a part of me that was a tad bit convicted too. I mean, I understand our family dynamic, right? All three of us are. The only one that's not an introvert in my house is the dog. Right? So Charlie's definitely an extrovert, right? And the other three of us probably are ambiverts, right? We know how to move and operate when we in a mood, but we like being alone, even from each other. It's the weirdest thing. My wife, I like being alone, believe it or not. I really do. I get to think, I get to, and then you know me for a long time now. I've been told I can be controversial. When really I think on my own. Nobody else, like, I can articulate why I believe what I believe, right? And I notice a lot of people can't.
Yeah.
So I've been told I'm controversial, and believe it or not, I want peace, just not at the cost of my silence. So that makes me end up wanting to be alone. Just like, okay, well, screw it. I kind of like going to the movies by myself anyway, right? My wife's a little bit. She likes being alone, but she likes to know you're in the room. Right? So believe it or not, some of our quality time sometimes is both of us just being in the bed reading a book. Or but actually, I'm figuring out I don't even have to be in the same room. But if I'm in the house, she's okay.
Yeah.
She as long as I'm in the house, I'm not too far. Right. So, on a commercial break or whatever she's watching, or she finishes, 10 pages, she can come find us.
Just check and make sure you're still there, right?
Right. But in listening to you, Yeah, if both of us sitting on our phones in the kitchen or in the dining room or in the living room, right, the family room, that's not really quality time, right? Even though to us that may be quality time. But I like that. I like that you even thought about that and you're modeling it for them, right? So that way they can start putting some things in place. It's I actually don't believe people think about this stuff until they know a direction they want their life to go.
Mm.
Right? What you got to picture you got to what we call manifest, right? You
Yeah.
got to you got to picture what you want your life to look like. What do you I get I'm going to call it this way. You got to daydream.
Mm-hmm.
You got to picture what would the day in the life look like when you reach whatever this arbitrary goal is, whatever it is, right? What does it look like? All right? And you got to put a picture in your head. And then kind of easy to start setting up core values and daily routines and those types of things.
Yeah.
Becomes pretty cool. Becomes pretty easy.
Yeah. ET's doing this. I don't know what you call it, but he's giving you insight into the 3 a.m. routine. So like every morning at 3 a.m. Eastern for like the next through the end of the year. He started yesterday. Today was day 2, but for the rest of the year, he's doing 3 a.m. on Instagram Live and just sharing a message, and sharing different insights. And one of the things he said this morning was the message was easy. I'm sorry, and simple and easy. All right, like that was just a simple phrase, but simple and easy. And he gave examples of that. How somebody like Will Smith, like acting is simple and easy for him, right? He's been doing it for years. For ET, speaking is easy and simple because that's what he does. And most people don't find that simple and easy thing to do, so they're always kind of all over the place. So I thought about that. I'm like, what's simple and easy for me to do? Like I don't think about it. I can do it without hesitation, and I can do it consistently, day in and day out. So that was my homework for the day, is to figure out what can I do that's simple and easy, where I'm not like every day trying to figure out like what move to make. And to your point about visualizing and daydreaming, my daughter is very clear on the picture. She's like, she keeps asking me like, when are we going to move? Right? Because I've expressed to her and she's expressed to me her
Right.
vision of the home that she wants to live in. Right? And I
Okay.
don't I don't think so much she cares about the home. She just wants a gymnastics studio attached to it. Right?
Of course.
I want a home on the water. So she knows my vision and I know hers. So she's like, when are we gonna move? Like when we're gonna make that, I'm like, gonna work on. She was like, I can't wait till you do X, Y, and Z so that we can make, and you can just let that go. And so just sharing that vision. And you talked about the accountability, like that helps to hold me accountable. But something that I learned recently, like accountability shouldn't be a crutch, right? To where I need this partner or I need this person to
Right.
share with in order for me to do
Right.
what needs to be done. Like your vision should pull you in the direction of where it is that you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that accountability just helps you to stay in the mindset, stay in the environment to
Mm-hmm.
continue to move forward. And what we're talking about are our values, right? Like, and I don't think people take enough time to consider what is it that you value. And
Mm-hmm.
we've heard the phrase before: if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Like most people don't
Yeah.
stand for something. Like what is it that you stand for? Like what do you think? What do you believe? What do you value? And how is that showing up in your life?
Yeah.
And I love what you shared earlier about like, do you operate in excellence or you operate at a high moral standard in everything that you do? And I'm recognizing more and more that um, most people do just enough, right? They do
Mm-hmm.
the bare minimum. They just get by. They don't care, right, enough. Um,
Very true.
and they're doing work because they've been conditioned or programmed to value money, right?
Yep.
And this series has not been about money, it's been about wealth, right? And wealth is not,
It's so much more than that.
yeah, it's money's a part of it, but
Mm-hmm.
like it's a tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you use to serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was on a conference call a couple weeks ago, And there was a young lady who shared, just the mindset of having an investor's mindset and how to like stop working for money, like stop investing your time for dollars. Like that is not the end all be all. What is it that you want that's bigger than that? And to ET's point, the idea that like to value or to have the value or the virtue to know that you deserve it. Like you deserve wealth. You deserve he talks a lot about like there's a lender in you, right? You don't have to stay a borrower, right? There's a lender in you. And maybe you just need to get around or get in the environment that will allow you to see yourself as a lender.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. You know what? I was thinking, excuse me.
Go ahead.
As you talked about how people just do just enough, right? That's something that's been built in the culture. So sometimes we look at the person and that's not really them.
No.
Right? But because all of their other coworkers, matter of fact, I've actually heard people who, were go-getters and was trying to move up and they did work so well that their coworkers were telling them to slow down. Right? Well, those people were part of the culture.
Yeah.
Right? And that person who was just doing what they do because that's part of their character, right? They were part of the revolution. And sometimes if you don't recruit into the revolution fast enough, you'll end up being part of the culture.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think everybody that's walking around doing what they're, giving their bare minimum, I don't believe that's them. I don't believe all of them that's them. They just got caught in the rut. Right? And some of that is because of virtue, some of it because of value. I think a big part is they don't have a vision. When you have a vision, even when your coworkers tell you, "Oh, slow down, you don't have to work that hard," you don't care. Right? So you're the person that's making all your coworkers look bad. I remember I was that guy in the Navy. Right? Now, mind you, I had no vision for my life either at that time. Right? But I was raised by two people who just taught me that.
Yeah.
They just taught me, nope, you signed it. My dad used to say, you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best thing. Now, mind you, my brothers and I didn't know what the heck a street sweeper was, and we didn't think they existed. Right? But that was the analogy he gave. If you're going to be a street sweeper, you're going to be the best daggone street sweeper. And I think we just remembered it.
Yeah.
So when I worked at Safeway, bagging groceries and pushing carts. So when I worked especially in the Navy, I actually loved that. That was fun. So of course I was going to give it all it deserved. Right? And I didn't even have a vision. So can you imagine how powerful people would be if they actually had a vision too?
Yeah. And I think that's a key component that a lot of people are missing, right? Because I was raised by parents who set a strong foundation of values, right? Work ethic and things like that. And when it comes to like doing, like my father is not the bare minimum. He's Mr. Meticulous. So like he's going to go to the end, like he has to stop himself from like going the extra mile. That's just how he is, and so that definitely trickled down, if you will. And so like I don't know how to not care. I don't know how to not give my best. I don't know how to not get the job done, right? Like that's just not in me to be like, oh well, I don't have this or I don't have that. I'm like, all right, how can I figure this out, right? Or who do I, what do I need to do to make this happen, And that's definitely one of the things that I can say I've been commended on is like, I just get things done. Like, who cares what the obstacle is? Like, what's the solution? Right? Let's figure it out, But those values are what inform, even what we're talking about here, doing what we're doing here tonight. Like, as introverts, we're better off, right? We may not even want to talk to people, right? But to get outside of your comfort zone, to stretch yourself, to have a vision of what you can become, to push yourself to another level it's like I got to do something different. If I want different results in my life, I have to do something different. I have to be somebody different. I have to grow. I have to change. I got to develop. And all of those values, those virtues, pull me to a vision of who I can become, and don't keep me where I am. And so these terms aren't just things that we're throwing around like, oh, have virtues, have values, have a vision. Like, no, like it really does inform the person that you become, the impact that you have. Like we started talking about with with Joey. He had a huge vision, and my brother used to say it all the time. And often I got it from him, or he got it from somebody else. But he says, have a vision so big. Oh no, I think it was Ed Milet. See, I'm giving my brother credit, but he just quoted him a lot. He said, have a vision so big that it can fit other people's vision into it.
Yeah.
Right. And I've definitely heard you say that as well. Yeah. Have a vision so big that
it takes leaders with vision to lead people with dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey definitely personified that. He had people and he believed in everybody. He just believed in them.
Yeah.
Right? He poured belief into them. Actually, I just ran into one of the young ladies who started her own videography and photography business, and she's an artist. And the day after he passed away, she had a show, and Joey was supposed to go. So I went and represented Joey at her art show. But I just ran into her. It's funny. Right before this talk, she was walking out of the Dollar Tree, and but she was one of those people he just poured into, and he made sure that they believed in themselves. Some of them, as you know, I've done too. We've helped people with their first mock business plan for their businesses or whatever the case may be, and just help them move in that. When you get somebody to just sit down, you just help them with their business plan. Now they believe it more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the type of stuff he did. And it was a privilege to be friends with him. And more than friends, him and I we were brothers. There was a time we lived together and stuff. Right. So he definitely had the right values. He saw the best of everybody. Actually, he was one of those weirdos too. He could forgive and forget. He was a freaking weirdo in that sense. Like, what are you doing? Right. And we joked about that this past week. Like, he would just forget and forget. And he could bring people together. He could bring people together. And that's a virtue all of us should learn. That's a virtue all of us should strive to have. Right. To be able to forgive and forget. And then also be able to bring people together, to connect people. And he had both. I'm planning on having both.
It's good stuff. Yeah, I definitely I took a lot, like I said, from the service this weekend, and you did a great job officiating if no one told you. But I think this topic, on this series, we got 4 weeks left in 2021.
Yep.
And of course, this is the time of year where people start to think about what's my vision for 2022 and setting goals and all of that. And I would definitely encourage, those who are listening to this or who will later, think about what you value. Take time to get clear on your values. Right, because that will inform your vision, right? Like, and I know for myself, it's difficult to create a vision when you don't know what you value, right? Yes. And like I said earlier, when you are clear about your values, it becomes easy to make decisions. And so, if you know what you believe, you know what you stand for, you know what you value, then that will help you in crafting your vision. It'll help you to maintain your virtue. I definitely think, I was thinking about something, just being transparent. I'm like, Lord, like who I used to be. I'm so grateful that I'm not who I used to be.
Oh my goodness.
And I wonder, like, and I used to pride myself on being like that person, right? But I can't say I don't recognize, like, she's still there, right? She's still in me, but that being that person didn't serve me. And it didn't really serve others, right? And it was all about my ego and And so I've definitely been humbled in a lot of ways. And as I'm drawing closer to like, my purpose and what is it all supposed to mean? Like, I'm always asking that question, like, what am I here for? And what's my purpose? And what should I be doing? I'm always asking myself those questions. And who am I becoming? I'm definitely grateful for, in not only modeling, but teaching, being able to teach my children a better value system and the importance of virtue, and also having a vision, right? Like, I'm giving them journals to write their vision and notebooks to, just whatever it may be, right? If your vision is to be an Olympic gymnast, write it down. Get clear on that. And then, having those conversations. So when we have that quality time together, let's talk about what our vision is. And I'm actually going to be going away this weekend for a few days. And I just want to take that time to clear my mind and get clear on, what's the next chapter going to look like. I'm not even saying the next year. What's the next chapter going to look like? And get more detailed about that, like really vivid view of what that looks like for me and my family and my future. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about that.
As you should.
I'm glad.
Just love how intentional you are.
Thank you.
And our world could be so much better if more people are more intentional in the raising of their children like you are. And so you're a great example. So hopefully the people who are watching are definitely took some notes from that and some nuggets, and we'll go apply it too. All right. But you've always been like that. I mean,
hey, and maybe this platform is good for that purpose.
a 3 a.m. call. I don't think people catch, stuff like that. There's hidden success secrets, right? In those things that seem like they're so small, but they're bigger than we try to make them. So,
yeah, he says he's normally up at 3, but he's getting up at 2 now so he can be prepared for the 3 a.m. call.
Isn't that crazy? Right?
It's yeah.
But that's somebody who loves people, right? And that's why you and I'm going to speak for you. You and I, even though we're introverts, we could get on here really because we love people, right? And we love to see people win and succeed and be fulfilled. So,
absolutely. And like I said, maybe that's the purpose of this platform, is to like share those gems, those values that other people will get a chance to hear. Because I know I'm not one to like just go to, like, I'm not talking to everybody about that. I'm not having that conversation with it. Like, you gotta ask, or you gotta be, you gotta schedule it, or I gotta know that there's a, like, you want to know, right? It's not, and so
there's a scripture that said in the Bible, don't throw your pearls to swine. Right? You don't just throw your nuggets and your stuff to anybody. Some of them aren't ready for it. They wouldn't know what to do with it.
For sure.
They'll damage them. So
it's I guess in a way, and I was sharing this actually with my brother-in-law, because we do, a show that you've been on, I think once or twice, and
on Fridays, right?
Yeah, we have a show coming up this Friday, and I was sharing with him that, like, in this season, I'm finding that I need to let some things go in order for me to invest the time in the things that I'm working towards. And I've always been the person that says yes to everybody else, and just like I share, even with my children, it's like, yes. I'm like, all right, I want to be intentional as a mother. So I will invest the time with my children. And while I want to support anybody and everybody, I can't. Like, I just, there's 24 hours a day. I can't support any and everybody. So I have to prioritize what's most important to me. And, when I share with him, what we do on Fridays, every other Friday, isn't so much about monetizing it or getting a bunch of subscribers. It's really about documenting the journey, because one day when we're all gone, our children will have that intellectual property, that digital currency, if you will, to go back and look at and really get some insight into who we were and what we valued and why we did what we did. And I think that value system really is at the core of a family's wealth, in order to pass generation on from one generation to the next. Like, there's got to be something greater than the money that keeps it all together. And I think this is the value system that a family has. And so if we can show that through our conversation and through the bond that we have with one another and the love that we share and show each other, maybe they'll get that, what do you call it? They'll get that intent, or they'll glean that from what they're able to see. And they'll go back and watch this. It's the new photograph, right? It's a scrapbook, essentially. It's a digital scrapbook that they'll get to go back and view. And while they won't maybe understand it now, maybe later on in life, they'll be able to pick up some of those things that we were trying to instill. So that's what it's about for me.
Nice.
So
nice. This has been a great talk. I'm glad I was able to make it on this week. I apologize for missing the show for the last few weeks, but glad to be here. And thank you all for your prayers.
Yes, glad to always have you, John. And no worries, right? It's not how we start, it's how we finish. So we got 4 weeks to finish the year strong. And next Tuesday I'll either be in the airport or in Puerto Rico. I'm not sure. I'll be coming back.
Go have fun.
Yeah, but we'll definitely be on here. UVW weekday. I'll figure something for W. Winning. Yes. Winning is, what is it? Winning is funner than fun.
It actually is.
For sure. Well, thank you again, John.
What do you do for fun? Win.
Yes.
Wait, what?
That's fun for me. I don't know about you, but
yeah,
that's good stuff. Well, thanks again, John. Thanks for being here. Thank you for just sharing your heart and letting people know a little bit about Joey and the impact that he had on your life and the person that he was. And we'll definitely continue to honor him through these conversations. And so, thank you all for joining us tonight. This has been our ABCs of Wealth series, week 22. 4 more weeks to go to finish out the alphabet and the year. I timed it just right. See, it's a numbers person. So, any final words, John?
No. Please love on your families. And remember, tomorrow's not promised. So don't be arrogant. Treat every day like it's your last.
Love it. Well, love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.